aka Diz, and this is The Force Always. Welcome to the show, and yes, I'm in an outside setting, coming from near Daylesford in Victoria, Australia. Reason why I'm here is because I'm here on a retreat, sort of vacation with my lady, and she's at the moment right now sort of enjoying an extensive retreat relaxation right now. And I thought, well, I come here to our sort of bush, the Australian bush. Check it out. And anyway, let's get into the Star Wars news. Now, this will be sort of freestyle, as you may know, being in a unusual location. I don't have sort of any board sort of showing me what to say. So this will be pretty much freestyle. That means ad lib. Anyway, let's get into Star Wars news. Mark Hamill, who plays Luke Skywalker, finally got his star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. Finally. He's got a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. George Lucas was in attendance, Harrison Ford was there, and even Rian Johnson. So congratulations to Mark Hamill. Keep rocking. The Force is with you, always. Anyway, to more news. The Last Jedi does come to digital worldwide, but with 4K release. It is released in America on 4K disc release, but in Australia it's going to be coming out here on the March 28th, along with the Blu-ray. And that's also the release date for the American Blu-ray DVD release. But the 4K in America is already out. Should be out there on your shelves about now. To more news, Daisy Ridley gets interviewed by the Star Wars show host on Facebook. It's quite an extensive interview about parts of making of The Last Jedi. It's interesting. Check it out. It's out there now. To more news, Favreau, that's Mr. Favreau, has landed himself a great Star Wars deal. He will be doing a live action TV series for Star Wars on the new Disney network, which is yet to be named or yet to be released, when, where, stuff like this. But he will be writing and producing, not directing, maybe directing, but he will be definitely the forefront in the producing and writing of this Star Wars series. No time period of Star Wars has been announced when the actual release date of this will happen, but Mr. Favreau, who's done some great movies like Jungle Book, he started the Iron Man thing with Marvel, is a great new person to the Star Wars team. So I'm all for it. It's great. So yeah, check that one out. Coming soon, when more details will be coming soon. So pretty much that is the news for this time around. This is a bit of a freestyle of news. Usually it is a bit freestyle on my behalf, but today's extra freestyle. I'm in the Australian bush. The Australian bush. See? The Australian bush. But anyway, I'm rocking a freestyle. But let's get into the views. Views is not my predictions. It's just my story ideas in where Star Wars should be going in story-wise, stuff like that. Now, from the top of my head, what can I talk about views this week? It will be about Snoke. Snoke theories were big about, 3 months ago, really swelling, things like this. I think The Last Jedi proves that the fans and the regular audience really needed a backstory for Snoke. Now, the difference between Snoke and Emperor Palpatine, even though back then we didn't need a backstory for Emperor Palpatine, these times does require for a bit of a backstory. Things have evolved in Star Wars, amazingly enough. And I think Snoke really did need a backstory. We need some relation to how he fits into this universe. How is he been unknown for this length of time? He actually was around during the original Star Wars timeline period. We never heard of him. We need to know what and where he was. So my thing is definitely episode 9 should touch on where he came from. I think the whole Snoke thing, he should not come back. I don't think it will do any justice to the film or Snoke to the character or even to the fans. I think he's not really an overly loved character from what I can tell from the fans. I'm not saying for every single fan, but I'm saying on my behalf a little bit, and some people that I've come across Snoke shouldn't come back. He shouldn't be, reinvented. He shouldn't be reborn. But we need to know a little bit on where he sort of came from. It would be good to sort of have that. That's my views. It's a story idea for episode 9. We should get a touch on where he came from, what he came from, why, when, all those questions. Anyway, that's my views for this time around. Let's get into the reviews. Reviews this time around is going to be pretty basic, as this is a bit of a freestyle. I'm going to tell you what my favourite Star Wars episode is and my worst Star Wars episode is. That is in the theatrical release. It doesn't include all the TV series and things like that, even though that's canon. Canon is basically, part of the story, according to Disney. My favourite is actually equal. I actually like Revenge of the Sith, which is episode 3, and I like Return of the Jedi, which is episode 6. My worst sort of is equal again. It's Attack of the Clones and the Clone Wars animated movie, the one that started it all. But that is not to say that I can't stand them and I love them over. There's no big difference here. I think the Star Wars story has a continuity even from episode 1 to episode 8 so far. I think there's something there that is the same, and that's what I like about Star Wars. It keeps the same feel, but exploring different sort of locations. It was a bit of a shock to go to the prequel sort of period and see this new clean sort of look, but that's the part of the time period that I respect and understand that George Lucas created, because it was a cleaner time. It was more of a religious time, if you will say. It was more sort of more politics before it got out of control. But the one that I least enjoy the most is Attack of the Clones and the Clone Wars, and Return of the Jedi and Revenge of the Sith. It's funny enough, they are the 3 films, the third part in the film. So let's wish that episode 9, which is going to be a third part in the sequel trilogy, will be great as well. I have a feeling it's going to be one hell of a challenge, I know that, but it's I can't foresee anything at the moment. It's left me a bit empty in how episode 9 is going to come off after episode 8, because there was a lot of things that ended in episode 8. Anyway, so that's my reviews this time around. I do give Return of the Jedi and Revenge of the Sith 9 out of 10 just for the review record. Let's get into interviews. It's a 2Q interview. That's 2 questions I ask myself for you guys out there. First question is, do we need the portholes in episode 9? Portholes was introduced in the second last airing episodes of Rebels animation, Star Wars animation. It was like a sort of a time machine sort of feeling type episode. So time can be traveled within Star Wars. Now this opens up a whole lot of possibilities that could contradict itself and not contradict itself. Interesting points. Should we be introduced to that in episode 9? I think it should be introduced at the end as a possibility for the future, but as a main piece of plot writing, no. That's what I think. I think portholes, or the time sort of breaking, time travel sort of thing, should be only sort of introduced to us at the end of episode 9, which will give us sort of some intrigue for the future. My second question, as The Last Jedi is, coming out to Blu-ray, DVD, digital, all this, should we see the Porgs again? The Porgs seem to be getting a lot of hatred now after the, hatred for The Last Jedi is just increasing and swelling on the internet. Should we see the Porgs again? I think they're good. They're fine, but I think there's probably a little bit too many shots of them in The Last Jedi. You need to have them. You need to sort of continue that. You can't sort of just drop them because of the fans. They are relevant. I mean, if you even look at the hatred with Jar Jar Binks, he was still in episode 2 and episode 3, just in a very minimal way. This is what should happen with episode 9. We should make them a main focus. Porgs, for me, they're fine. I think they've done well. Probably just too many scenes in the actual Last Jedi, but they're very good. You know, they're cute little fuzzy bird sort of things. Who cares? Star Wars is filled with weird aliens. Anyway, so that's my 2Q question. That's 2Q. So, you know, like, share, follow me on Instagram, Twitter. You know, repeat the viewers of this. Subscribe to the channel, The Force Always, only on YouTube. This has been an unusual location this week. I'm coming from outside of Daylesford in Victoria, Australia. Very nice location. Highly suggest going to these retreats here. It's really well known for this, and it's actually world class if you're interested. Just outside Daylesford. But anyway, until next time, as I say, from the Australian bush, keep rocking.